You're just not pretty enough. That's what he said to me, right in front of everyone. In the school cafeteria. I still remember the sound of the trays clattering, the laughter that followed, and my face going hot and red. I was 15 years old. And I want to tell you something. That one sentence followed me for the next 6 years of my life. It sat in my head like a splinter I couldn't pull out. But here's the thing. That same sentence, it's also the reason I'm sitting here today, telling you this story, as a working model who's walked in shows I used to only dream about. So if you've ever been told you're not enough, not pretty enough, not smart enough, not good enough, stay with me. Because this isn't just my story. I think it's yours too, in some way. Let's go back to the beginning. Okay, so a little about me. I grew up in a small town. Nothing fancy. My dad worked construction. My mom cleaned houses on the weekends to help make ends meet. We weren't poor, but we were careful. You know that kind of careful? Where you check the price of everything twice before you put it in the cart. Where new shoes were a birthday gift, not just a Tuesday purchase. I was the middle child of 3. My older sister was the pretty one. That's literally what people called her. Family friends, aunties, even teachers. Oh, you must be so-and-so's sister, she's so pretty. And then they'd look at me, kind of pause, and just move on. Like I was the footnote. I didn't think much of it when I was a kid. Kids don't really compare themselves the way teenagers do. But somewhere around 12, 13, I started noticing it more. The way people's eyes would light up for her, and just sort of glaze over for me. I wasn't ugly. I want to be clear about that because for the longest time I thought I was. I was just average. Frizzy hair I didn't know how to manage. Braces for 2 years. A gap between my front teeth even after the braces came off. Skin that broke out every time I got stressed, which if you know teenage life, is basically always. And look, none of that should matter. I know that now. But when you're a teenager, it feels like it's the only thing that matters. High school started, and I was just trying to survive it like everyone else. New school, new faces, that awkward stage where you don't know where you fit. I made a few friends. Nothing dramatic. I did okay in my classes. I liked art class the most, actually. I used to sketch a lot. Nobody knew that about me. It was kind of my secret little world. And then there was this boy. I'm going to call him Jay, because I still don't love saying his real name out loud, even years later. Funny how that works, right? He was popular, confident, the kind of guy who walked into a room, and people just turned to look. I had a crush on him. A big one. The embarrassing, can't focus in class kind of crush. I never told anyone. I definitely never told him. I just existed near him, hoping he'd notice me one day. And one day he did notice me. Just not the way I wanted. It was lunchtime. I was sitting with my friend Mia. She was one of the only people I really trusted back then, and Jay walked by with his group of friends. One of them, I think as a joke, said something like, "Hey, doesn't she like you?" and pointed at me. Everyone turned. My stomach just dropped. Jay looked at me. Really looked, like he was studying a piece of furniture. And then he laughed. Not a mean laugh exactly, more of a careless one. The kind that hurts worse because you can tell he didn't even think it was a big deal. And he said it. "Nah, she's just not pretty enough." That was it. 5 words. He said it, turned around, and walked off with his friends like nothing happened. Like he hadn't just detonated something inside me. I sat there frozen. Mia tried to say something comforting. I don't even remember what. I just remember the ringing in my ears and the heat crawling up my neck. I didn't cry at school. I want you to know that. I held it together the whole rest of the day, walked home with my head down, said fine when my mom asked how school was. And then I got to my room, closed the door, and I cried for probably 2 hours straight. You might be wondering why 5 words could hurt that much. Honestly, I ask myself that too sometimes. But I think it's because he said out loud the exact thing I was already whispering to myself in my head. It's one thing to secretly fear you're not pretty enough. It's a whole different kind of pain when someone else confirms it. Out loud. In front of people. After that day, something in me shifted. I started avoiding mirrors, or maybe I started staring into them too much. I honestly can't tell you which was worse. I'd stand there picking apart every single part of my face. My nose was too wide. My eyes were too small. My skin was never clear enough. I stopped raising my hand in class, even when I knew the answer, because I didn't want the attention. I started wearing my hair down over my face, like a curtain I could hide behind. And on top of all of that, because life doesn't just give you one problem at a time, does it? Things at home were getting harder too. My dad got injured on a job site. A bad fall. He was out of work for almost 4 months. No income from him during that stretch. My mom picked up more cleaning jobs, but it wasn't enough to cover everything. I remember hearing my parents talk in low voices in the kitchen at night, thinking we were all asleep, talking about bills, about what we could cut, about whether we'd have to sell the car. I was 15, and I understood enough to be scared. I started picking up small jobs myself, babysitting for a neighbor, helping an elderly woman down the street with her groceries for a little bit of cash. It wasn't much, but I wanted to help. I didn't want to be one more thing my parents had to worry about. At school, I kept my head down. Jay's comment had spread. Not massively. This wasn't some huge viral moment, but enough. Enough that a couple of other kids picked it up as a joke. Not pretty enough became this little phrase that would get whispered near me sometimes. Kids can be cruel in these small, quiet ways that adults don't always see. I remember one specific day, maybe 2 months after the cafeteria thing, I was in the school bathroom and I overheard 2 girls talking. They didn't know I was in the stall. One of them said, "Yeah, everyone knows she has a thing for him. That's so embarrassing, especially since, have you seen her?" I stayed in that stall until I heard the door close behind them. Then I sat down on the floor of a school bathroom and just broke. That was probably the lowest point. I remember thinking very clearly, I just want to disappear. Not in a dangerous way, I want to be careful saying this, but in the sense of, I wanted to shrink. I wanted to be invisible. I stopped wanting to be seen at all, because being seen felt like being judged. My grades started slipping a little. Not dramatically, but enough that a teacher pulled me aside and asked if everything was okay at home. I said yes. Elite. Because how do you explain that a 5-word sentence from a boy in the cafeteria had somehow rearranged your entire sense of self? This went on for months. Honestly, if I'm being fully honest with you, it went on for a couple of years, in different forms. I started high school insecure. I finished high school more insecure, just better at hiding it. I want to pause here and say something. If you're watching this and you've felt this exact thing, that hollow, aching feeling of being told you're not enough, I see you. I really do. And I promise you, we're getting to the part where things start turning around. But I wanted you to sit in the hard part with me for a second, because that's real life. Growth doesn't happen instantly. It happens slowly, painfully, and usually right after your lowest moments. So here's where things started to shift. And honestly, it wasn't some big dramatic movie moment. It was small, almost boring if I'm honest. I was 17. My aunt, my mom's younger sister, came to visit us for a couple of weeks. She lived in the city, worked in fashion, not as a model herself, but she did styling and some behind-the-scenes work for local shoots and small campaigns. She noticed I was quiet, withdrawn. One evening she sat with me on the porch, just the 2 of us, and asked me straight up, "What happened to you?" I don't know why, but I told her everything. The cafeteria, the whispers, the mirror, all of it. I hadn't told anyone the full story before, not even Mia knew all of it. She listened. She didn't interrupt. And when I finished, she didn't say, "You're so pretty, don't worry." She didn't do the thing everyone does where they just throw a compliment at you to make the topic go away. Instead, she said something I'll never forget. She said, "You've decided that one boy's opinion in a cafeteria is the final word on who you are. But he doesn't get to write that story. You do." I remember just staring at her. Because it sounds so simple when someone says it out loud, right? But it hit me differently coming from her. She asked me if I'd ever thought about modeling. I actually laughed. Like genuinely laughed, because in my head, modeling was for girls who looked like my sister. Girls people called pretty without even thinking about it. Not girls like me. She said, "That's exactly the kind of thinking I want you to unlearn." She told me modeling wasn't really about fitting one narrow idea of pretty. She said the industry was slowly changing, that there was space now for different faces, different bodies, different stories. She said what mattered more than anything was confidence, presence, and how you carried yourself. I didn't believe her. Not really. But something about that conversation planted a tiny seed. A few weeks later, she sent me a link. It was an open casting call in the city, for a local clothing brand, nothing huge, nothing glamorous. She said, just go. Not to book it. Just to see what it feels like. I almost didn't go. I want to be honest with you. I made about 5 different excuses in my head. I don't have the right clothes. I don't have professional pictures. I'll just embarrass myself. What if someone from school sees me and finds out I tried and failed? But something in me, maybe it was that conversation with my aunt, maybe I was just tired of shrinking, something made me go. I remember standing in line outside that casting call, and I was probably the least model-looking person there, at least in my own head. Everyone seemed so tall, so put together, so effortlessly confident. I almost turned around and left twice. But I stayed in that line. When it was my turn, I walked in, and my hands were literally shaking. The woman behind the table asked me to walk to the mark, turn and walk back. I did it. Badly, probably. My walk was stiff. My smile was nervous. I don't even think I made eye contact with her once. I didn't get that job. Obviously. I mean, come on, that would be too easy of a story, right? But here's the thing that mattered. I didn't die. Nobody laughed at me. The world didn't end. I walked out of that room, and instead of feeling crushed, I felt this strange, tiny spark of pride. Because for the first time in 2 years, I had done something that scared me, instead of hiding from it. That was the turning point. Not booking a job. Not suddenly becoming confident overnight. It was that one small act of showing up anyway. After that first casting, something in me changed slowly. I started going to more open calls. Small ones, local ones, nothing glamorous at first. I got rejected. A lot. I want to be really honest with you about this part, because I think a lot of these stories skip over it, or rush through it too fast. I got told my hips weren't right for one brand. I got told my height was borderline for another. I got told, more than once, that I had an interesting look. Which, if you've ever heard that phrase, you know it's not always a compliment. There were nights I came home and cried after a rejection, feeling like that boy from the cafeteria had been right all along. But something had shifted in how I handled those nights. Instead of spiraling into I'm not enough, I started asking myself, okay, what can I actually work on? What's in my control? I started researching. I learned how to do my own makeup properly, not to look like someone else, but to actually highlight my own features instead of hiding them. I learned how to walk, practicing in my room for hours with a broomstick balanced on my head like some cliché movie scene, except it was real, and it was mine. I saved up money from babysitting and my little part-time jobs and got a few decent photos taken by a photography student who needed practice for her portfolio. We traded. She got photos for her school project. I got photos I could actually use. My aunt helped me put together a very simple, very basic portfolio. Nothing fancy, just real, honest pictures of me. And slowly, things started to move. I booked a small local shoot for a boutique clothing store. It paid almost nothing, but I didn't care. I still remember getting that email that said, "We'd love to book you." And I read it about 10 times to make sure I wasn't imagining it. Then I got another one. And another. None of this happened fast, I want to be clear. This wasn't some 6-month glow-up story. This was almost 3 years of small steps, rejections, tiny wins, more rejections, learning, adjusting, and showing up again and again. At 19, I signed with a small local agency. Not one of the huge, famous ones you see in movies. A regional agency that worked with local brands, some regional magazines, a few online campaigns. I remember calling my mom the day I signed, and she cried on the phone. Not because I was suddenly some huge success, but because she'd watched me disappear for 2 years after that cafeteria comment, and now she was watching me come back to life. Somewhere in that process, something interesting happened. I stopped doing this to prove Jay wrong. In the beginning, if I'm honest, Some tiny petty part of me wanted him to see me one day and regret what he said. But somewhere along the way, that motivation faded, and it got replaced with something better. I started doing it for me. Because I liked who I was becoming. Because for the first time, I actually looked in the mirror and didn't immediately start listing everything wrong with my face. That doesn't mean I became some perfectly confident person overnight. I still have days where old insecurities creep back in. I think that's honest, and I think it's important to say, because I don't want to stand here and pretend like modeling magically fixed my self-esteem forever. It didn't. What it did was teach me that my worth was never actually tied to one boy's opinion in a cafeteria. It just took me a long time, and a lot of small brave moments, to actually believe that. Last year, I walked in my first real runway show. Nothing massive, a regional fashion week, but it was real. Backstage, right before I walked out, I had this moment where I flashed back to that cafeteria. The trays. The laughter. Him saying those 5 words. And I remember thinking, you have no idea where I am right now. Not in a bitter way. Genuinely, in a peaceful way. Like I had finally closed a chapter that had been open way too long. So here's where I am now. I'm not famous. I'm not walking in Paris or Milan. I'm not some overnight success story you'd see trending online. I'm just a girl who was told she wasn't pretty enough, who believed it for way too long, and who slowly, painfully, built herself back up, one small brave step at a time. If there's one thing I want you to take from this video, it's this. Somebody's opinion of you, even someone you admire, even someone whose words feel like they carry so much weight. That opinion is not a fact. It's just their perspective, shaped by whatever they've been through, whatever they've been taught to value. You get to decide who writes your story, not them. I know it's easier said than done. I spent almost 2 years of my life proving that to myself the hard way. But I promise you, if you're in that place right now, if there's a version of not pretty enough sitting in your head, whatever form it takes for you, you are so much more than that one sentence. If this story meant something to you, even a little bit, I'd really love to hear from you. Drop a comment and tell me. Has anyone ever said something to you that stuck with you for years? How did you deal with it? I read every single comment, and honestly, hearing your stories helps me as much as I hope mine helps you. And if you want to see more real stories like this one, hit subscribe, because this is just one chapter. There's a lot more I haven't told you yet. Thank you for sitting with me through this one. I mean that. I'll see you in the next video.